It's the Full Court Press with Eric Franson and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews.
There's going to be much higher expectations, sense of awareness of what we bring to the table.
Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Sproles, end zone, yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
Welcome on in to the Full Court Press. Jason Walker. I'm here along with the one, the only, Ajay Salvesen.
Oh, come on.
I didn't think of anything creative here, Ajay. It's the weekend. I've not really done a whole lot of thinking today.
Oh, just because nobody's in the office means you
Yeah, I
have
was
to
in
be
the office like by myself for like 2 or 3 hours.
Lonely, huh?
Yeah, I know. It's just silent. I know when I was here in the morning, like someone was trying to call the station. I was like they were calling the front desk. I was like, I don't.
You should have answered it.
I probably should have
answered it.
But like after hearing it ring a couple times, I went over and just see if I could see who it was. Like right as I saw who it was, it stopped ringing, and I sat there for like a minute waiting for them to call back again.
There for a minute waiting for them to call back?
Yeah, because it sounded like they'd called like 3 times in a row.
Oh, Jason.
So I was waiting to see if they call again.
Good heck.
And then I just went back to my desk, and so it was lonely here.
How was your July 4th?
It was good. Lots of fun. Went down. I think I mentioned yesterday, my grandpa's birthday is also the 4th of July.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So went down, visited him, hung out with some of my uncles, my dad, grandpa, obviously, cousins, whatnot. So a lot of fun.
So I have a friend, Lace. He works at Hill Air Force Base, and he literally built me a computer. Jeez. It was incredible. He builds me this computer, and I was like, I need to get a new keyboard and mouse and all that. So I go over to where my cousin works at Best Buy, and I was going to shop for me, a keyboard and a mouse and all this stuff. And I was just going to get me like the simplistic of things. And my cousin that I found out yesterday, he actually goes to Utah State. He just got off his church mission, and I see him at the store, and I'm like, hey, I'm looking for this and this, and he takes me to the back. And dude, he just starts selling me everything. Like, the guy is incredibly handsome. He can speak well. He probably speaks 9 different languages.
So he's definitely your cousin.
Dude, he's incredibly smart. Like, the way he was talking to me made me feel like I have no idea what I'm doing here, and I'll do whatever you say I should, whatever I should do.
And he's selling stuff at Best Buy?
Dude, he was like, you need to get this, 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 and this. And what I thought was going to be like a $150 purchase ended up being over $400 when it was all said and done. And I walked out of there, and I just thought, this kid, his name's Joshua Davidson, and he is so talented. In fact, his mom and dad actually here to visit, Monet and Chris from Indiana, and they were here to visit yesterday, and I had a chance to sit down and talk with them, and they were bragging about how great Joshua is, and I was like, all right, well, good. Met him today, dude. The guy can upsell. He's a fast talker. He's a good salesman. Like, oh my gosh. And I walked out of that place, and I thought, wow.
Well, it's a little bit lighter.
Wow, man. I feel like crap I just spent that much money, but I'm really proud of my cousin's son. Which I don't even know what the relationship would be to that.
Yeah, I forget what the...
Anyways, Joshua, if you're listening, best salesman I've ever been around my life.
Yeah, I got... Oh, there goes my microphone. This thing isn't tight enough. Can't get it to
Speaking of sales, maybe we gotta sell you a mic.
This is like brand new. It's not the mic. It's the thing holding the mic.
Oh, it's the thing. Okay, well, let's buy you a new thing holding the mic. Joshua, if you're listening, my friend Jason here needs a brand new thing holding the mic. Would you quit twisting it that way? Lefty loosey, righty tighty, man.
Yeah, it is righty tighty. It's going this way. That's the right.
Oh god. Okay, well, Jason just broke our mic. Joshua, come get a new thingy holding the mic.
I probably broke because I've had it too tight for too long, and then it just like loses it.
Hey, speaking of stress and overspending on things, dude, this Lauri Markkanen thing is really starting to irk me. Like, if we give away our franchise so we can get 8 more draft picks, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah, that's basically like the entire sports news landscape right now is Lauri Markkanen. Like especially as far as anyone nationally cares. Like nationally, they're all talking about the Dallas Cowboys, and I mean they were talking about LA Lakers leading into our show. And it's just like, but Lauri Markkanen, heck, they're kind of tied to the Lakers because they're one of the teams that's potentially interested. And I believe we touched on this on Wednesday. Just it seems increasingly likely that the Utah Jazz are going to trade Lauri Markkanen. But it's just going to come down to who ends up giving Danny Ainge and Justin Zanuck what he wants. No, Justin Zanuck technically the GM or whatever, but everyone always, including myself, always says Danny Ainge. Although he's like president of basketball operations or whatnot. So or I forget exactly what his job title is, but he's pulling a lot of the strings. And like he had Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, and the Knicks were trying to bring in Donovan Mitchell, and they kept posturing, and everyone kept saying, "Oh, we have the leverage, and we're gonna give him, what we want, and you're gonna bow to that." Then they sent him to Cleveland. Knicks have done okay since then. Of course, they've done so well that Donovan Mitchell signed an extension with Cleveland because the Knicks didn't want him. So, and Donovan seems to like Cleveland anyway. So, of course, now Miami is reportedly interested in Lauri Markkanen, so they're offering Tyler Herro and like a protected first-round pick or whatever. The pittance that they always offer everyone for their best players. Like, here, we'll trade you Tyler Herro for Giannis.
I don't want a white Jordan Clarkson on my team.
That's essentially what he is.
That's what it is.
A guy who can start, and I think he did start pretty much all this last season, but he seems much more at home as, that high-scoring sixth man. In the way that Jordan Clarkson, in his best years, that's what he was. He's been starting for like the last year and a half. But, yeah, it's just it's a complicated world. Of course, right now the Warriors, I think, seem to be the favorite. And, Ajay, let me ask you this, because and I talked about one, proposal. I don't think it'd be the entire you get this much, but it was something to the effect of, 4 first-round picks, although I think the Warriors might only actually be able to offer, 2 first-round picks and then, they own a protected pick. So they may not even be able to have 4 first-round picks. But they might be able to offer some pick swaps. But then they'd also have, Brandon Podziemski, Moses Moody, and Jonathan Kuminga. An interesting wrinkle to that, Jonathan Kuminga I think would be an exciting piece to come back. Because that's a guy who is primed for a kind of breakout. Same way Lauri did. Lauri exploded, obviously, when he got here. He didn't really show a whole lot of potential. He showed he was a decent player. This is a guy who was averaging in, the low teens points per game, his first 3-4 years. Then he becomes an all-star in Utah because he got the opportunity to thrive in a bigger role. Jonathan Kuminga, he averaged, 16 points per game last year, kind of in his first opportunity to play more. Of course, he's also still playing next to Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson was there and whatnot. So still other players around him are getting the spotlight. Maybe he'd come into Utah and have a big jump. But an interesting report from a Bay Area radio station. I don't think this is a report. I think this was somebody's opinion. But it was related to the fact that Franz Wagner over in Orlando just got an extension for 5 years and $200-something million. It came out to about $44 million a year is what the math, I forget the exact number, but that's what the math comes out. Per year, it's about $44.1 million. And the thing is, Wagner and Kuminga, they're in the same draft. So they're both on the same timeline as far as rookie scale extensions. And so there's a guy in the Bay Area saying Jonathan Kuminga is probably looking at that extension and saying, yeah, I can get $200 million. Yeah. And it's if you're the Jazz, does that scare you?
Yeah, I think that kind of money does scare me because Ainge is not one to spend the money, even on the best of play. I mean, it's got to be a Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen type of player to spend that money. I don't think Kuminga is that guy, and nor should he be for that kind of money. If someone wants to, by all means. I remember when Wes Matthews, and when 34, I think it was $34 million was an offer sheet from Portland that Portland ended up taking and buying Wes Matthews. That was out of this world for Wes Matthews. This is the same kind of money, same kind of guy we're talking about. I don't like $200 million for Kuminga. Doesn't make any sense financially. Doesn't do any good for you financially. And by the way, who says Kuminga is actually going to want to, or is going to be productive for that long and yet want to be here that long in Utah?
Yeah, it's just an incredibly risky. Like Orlando signing Wagner to 5 years, again, like $240 million or something like that. That's a big risk because Wagner's a decent player. This is a dude who averages like 19 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, thereabouts. He's a good player. But, when I looked at the top paid players in the NBA, at least based off this last year, like the highest paid players, that's like the 12th most, like $44.1 million. That's the 12th, that would have been last year the 12th most, 12th highest salary. Like, is Franz Wagner top 15 player? I don't even know if he's a top 30 player.
Yeah, he's not even top 35,
it's
top
like
40.
You're paying him, and now the kid's 22 years old. He ain't done getting better. But that's a risk because Jonathan Kuminga is in that same boat. He's a decent player. 16 points per game in a secondary, even tertiary role, like not even like a full-time starter. That's pretty good. And he's not done getting better because he's only like 20, 21 or something like that.
But the money for that.
Yeah, you're committing. It's like when the Pelicans, when they signed Zion Williamson to that kind of money.
Man.
And he'd proven even more. Like, this is a guy who, if he's healthy, which is a huge if.
That's a thing.
It's an if about as huge as Zion's gut.
Nearly.
And, it was a risk when they signed him to a mega extension. Granted, I think his was like $300 million or something like that. So it's a big risk, and suddenly I'm not nearly as enthused about maybe signing Jonathan Kuminga if that's what he may end up wanting. Because if the Jazz signed him to that, then they got him for 5 years. He's probably not going anywhere. But what happens is if he doesn't, just go look over to the Bulls, Zach LaVine. They can't give him away.
Yeah.
They literally can't give him away. Nobody wants him.
Nobody wants him
because he's got this giant contract over him where he's going to be owed like $46 million a year for like 3 more years.
And that's the problem with these giant contracts is that at some point these guys, injuries, age, health, it all declines. Production declines and sometimes at a very accelerated rate. And then you're still stuck with this guy for 4 more years and in baseball, 300-something million left. In basketball, still 45 to 50 million left, which is expensive for someone like that. And then you can't, like you said, Zach LaVine, you can't give him away because nobody wants that contract. So when you do these big contracts, you are cuffing yourself. You're holding your franchise and your team hostage with that contract. LeBron James, $104 million, pushes him past the second apron, Jason. And now they can't go sign a big star or even a secondary big star because now they're cuffed and held hostage by James' money.
Yeah, I think you can kind of tell that LeBron James has just firmly oriented himself toward his post-playing career.
Oh, 100%.
Because if he was like, I'm here for championships, if I was him, I'd sign for the vet minimum. But LeBron obviously wants to be, and I think is a billionaire, and wants to be in part ownership of an NBA team, which another $104 million. That certainly is. I mean, it's not everything, but it pushes you much more in the right direction than say the vet minimum of $4 million or whatever it is. So that's the contracts can tie you up. Now, again, I say it's a risk, but it's one that can pay off. Because say the Jazz did trade, and again, this is only hypothetical. It's not like it's imminent that the Jazz are getting Jonathan Kuminga in a trade where they send Lauri to the Warriors. Because, one, it doesn't seem the Warriors are too keen on giving him up anyway.
Yeah.
But, say it did happen. If Jonathan Kuminga walked in and started putting up Lauri Markkanen numbers, I'd say, heck yeah, give him $40 million.
Yeah, we're having a whole different discussion.
But I think you outlined it perfectly. If that doesn't happen, then, what you said just fits perfectly. Where you're handcuffed. My formative years as a Jazz fan, young age was, I'm going to date myself a little younger here, but where people were talking about Andrei Kirilenko's contract.
Yeah.
That's all I heard for the first 3 or so years where I was kind of paying attention, or at least hearing Jazz conversation around me. It was always, Andrei Kirilenko's contract. Because he showed that potential for 2 years, and then he never lived up to it. He just kind of stopped. He plateaued. He never improved from those flashes, and guys like Wagner and Kuminga can flash their potential, but if you commit a ton of money, and then suddenly they plateau or they get injured or whatever, that's a big risk. And that's kind of what scares me away from trading with the Warriors. Not only is I don't want to have another time where the Jazz like make the Warriors incredibly good. Like the Jazz facilitated the way for the Warriors to get Andre Iguodala. By taking Richard Jefferson and Andres Biedrins and what was the other guy, Brandon Rush, off their hands. Like they basically allowed the Warriors to start their dynasty by opening up. Obviously, they didn't send them Steph Curry and Klay Thompson one. They still would have been good, but freeing up all that space, Andre Iguodala, completing that death lineup. I don't need the Jazz to send Lauri Markkanen and have him go tear it up.
The whole entire basketball world would hate Utah if they did this. The whole entire basketball world would be like, gosh dang it, you guys had one job. Don't screw this up and don't give it back to Golden State. So let me ask you, the demands for Lauri Markkanen, what would set the Jazz back further? A trade that gives away Lauri Markkanen, or a trade, and this is starting to become rumor, that gives away Walker Kessler?
Sorry, say it again. I saw a text.
No, you're good. You're good. So what sets the Jazz back further, you think, in your opinion? A trade that gives away Lauri or a trade that gives away Kessler?
Oh, definitely Lauri, because as much as I absolutely love Walker Kessler, it seems he stalled a bit. And another thing is that he plays a position that doesn't have nearly as much impact as the position that Lauri plays, where he's more of a wing. Of course, Lauri still trends a little bit more toward being a big, but he's more of a versatile power forward, / small forward. And Lauri's also an all-star. Walker Kessler at his best would be an all-star. Lauri's already there, and we don't know if Kessler's going to get there. He kind of took a sideways step last year. You can argue he took a step back. I think a lot of people would argue he took a step back. Sophomore slump and all that. So you'd set yourself back mostly because you'd lose a lot more games. If you trade Walker Kessler, you're not losing all that many more games. If you trade Lauri Markkanen, you're losing a ton more games. I'm not really thrilled about the prospect of trading away either, because Kessler is like the perfect center to have on a team. Because what you see on a lot of teams is, there's a lot of teams that have like the superstar center, and they're good, and then they don't go anywhere in the playoffs. The exception kind of being Nikola Jokic, who's one of the most unique centers we've seen. Like, in the modern age, you can't like get a Tim Duncan, put him on your team, and go win the championship. As fantastic as those players are, like Joel Embiid's putting up like Wilt Chamberlain numbers, and they can't get out of like the second round. So what you need is that fantastic complementary center. Like the Mavericks went out and got Derek Lively, who's a freaking rookie, but he did everything they needed. Rebounding energy, pick and roll, defensive prowess. Like Walker Kessler has all that. And it sounds kind of heartless to say this, but also like if you don't pay him as much, like if you have a center like that that's cheap, then you're getting incredible value. You're getting stuff that you need, because you need that rebounding energy. You need that defensive presence inside. You need that pick and roll threat. And you're kind of getting it for cheap. Like Dallas paying Derek Lively, rookie scale salary. Walker Kessler the same. Look at the Knicks with Isaiah Hartenstein. Like how much of an impact he had at the cheap contract he was on, because he was like a journeyman for like the first 5 years of his career. So he's probably signed on some minimum contract with the Knicks. Of course, Hartenstein just got a big raise to go. I forget where he signed with. He signed with somebody else, but got a deserved raise. But I guess to finish off this point, like Kessler is somebody that I feel like you need on the team, and moving on from him doesn't make sense, because you're just eventually going to go get another Walker Kessler.
Yeah.
You already have him on the team, and he's young, and he fits the timeline. Why move on from him? You have the kind of player you need. Don't throw him away after you lucked into him.
Well, okay, so when I said the other day that you need to get a good haul if you're going to trade Lauri, I didn't mean that you need to get someone really good and we got to pay them $200 million as well. That's not a good haul.
Yeah.
That's one step forward, two steps back, because now you're financially handcuffed.
Yeah, you're locking yourself into
You
that.
need somebody who is Like, you tell Golden State, okay, look, if you want us to take Kuminga, you're going to pay the next 3 years. Whether you like it or not, you're going to pay the next 3 years. You're going to give us cash consideration for this. Because we're not going to fork over all this money for this guy just to get him off your hands financially.
Yeah.
And then give away our all-star.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, when you'd be more content with, like, what the Jazz ended up paying Colin Sexton, because they traded for him, then they extended him for – it was like a decent contract. It was like 4 years, $80 million or something like that. Yeah, of course, Kuminga's probably worth a little more than that. But, yeah, you wouldn't want to trade for a guy and then sign him to $240 million.
Because I remember when Mike Conley came to Minnesota, or came from, was it Memphis to here, right, by trade? And then we owed him $46 million that next season. And we had Dan Clayton of Salt City Hoops on the show. And I said, like, Dan, this makes no sense. Why do you take a guy you got to pay $46 million to for the year, for the rest of the year? Like, financially, why do you do that? And his point was made very well. It's the fact that his productivity when he plays. Now, again, when he was playing, like, there was he was game sent a lot of games. But then they put in the contract, like, if they made an incentive that if you play over half your games, I think it was 60% of your games, we give you this much more. And it ended up working. He played a lot more. Jazz were a lot more consistent, better on the court. Win-loss record was drastically improved. So it all worked, but I just don't know if you can do that with Kuminga. I don't think you have that leverage, and I don't think he provides that support.
Yeah, and you're just putting all your eggs in the one basket. Yeah. I think that's the point, is the Jazz want to keep their options open. And if that's the wrinkle to this trade, again, it's not a confirmed thing. It's not what's happening, but it scared me off if I was the Jazz. Like, yeah, I like Kuminga, but I don't like him that much.
Yeah.
By the way, 8968, before we go to break, you text us in, I think we were talking about LeBron James and his 2-year extension. He's saying, haven't you guys ever listened to ball players? It's never about the money.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yes. You know, and 8968, just awesome point here, because remember, when a coach says he's staying, he's staying. He's never going to leave.
Yeah, and he's staying for the right reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
He's staying because of the culture.
Yeah, he loves the culture, and hey, he is here forever.
Tell that to the new Texas baseball coach.
Oh my gosh, can you believe that?
That was a hilarious story.
That night, that's a selfish question. How dare you? Next day, hey guys, I'm gonna go be a Longhorn. Dude, he left Texas. Not only did he call the reporter selfish, he then left A&M to go to Texas, man.
I tell you, if I was a Texas baseball crew, I'd just tell them, no, I ain't coming there if you're the head coach.
Like what's going on in Texas? Like, what are they drinking over there as coaches? Because remember when Chris Beard was at Texas Tech, and then he's like, no, I am staying. I am here. I am the Texas Tech Red Raiders coach. Next season, I'm going to Texas.
I feel like it's because lawyers are writing their responses, because lawyers use, like, the most adamant denial language I've ever seen in my life. And, but then, like, their press conference responses don't actually change what
Does that happen in soccer? Like coaches like saying, hey, I'm going to stay here or whatever? Like in even the professional ranks?
Soccer coaches don't really move around a ton.
Okay, you usually get fired,
It's
right?
like NBA, NFL. Like in college, coaches move around a ton. In the pros, they don't really move around. Like it happens, but very rarely. So, I mean, I think RSL lost their coach, Jason Kreis. Like, I think he moved on, but I don't know. I don't remember that exactly how that situation went down. But like, there's one time I think RSL lost their coach to a different MLS team. But I don't know. He was a pretty good coach. But anyway, we got to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk Utah State football. Though instead of focusing on what's going on behind the scenes, we'll talk about any potential breakout players, like guys who've been on the team that are maybe in line to take a big step up this upcoming season. Feel free to send in your thoughts, any suggestions you have for these players that might break out. Again, we'll kind of limit it to guys that were on the team last year. There'll be a time where we talk about potential, big impact newcomers. But feel free to text the Full Court Press text line 435-339-0321. We'll have that coming up next here on the Full Court Press.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. Life is good. Life at My Mattress is good too. Why might I say that? Because today is a good day to slay a Goliath. The other day I went into a mattress store here in Logan that has 2,500 stores across the country. I'd say that's a Goliath. We were 20% less expensive on every bed that we both offer. We may not have 2,500 stores, but we are number one in Cache Valley. Better product and better prices. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress.
Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat and the Allergy Clinic now have an office located inside the Miller Medical Building in Tremonton. Every Friday, Northern Utah's premier ear, nose, and throat medical physicians and staff will provide Box Elder County a better option to be seen. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat and the Allergy Clinic are now located in Tremonton. Save time, schedule your appointment today. Go to CacheValleyENT.com. That's CacheValleyENT.com for details. Most insurance products, including SelectMed, are accepted.
Nothing better than a great song from 1976. Hi, this is Bob Larson with LSS Insurance, and I'm talking to you, graduating class of 76. Even if you're still working or getting ready to retire, Medicare is a conversation we need to have. Let us help you understand Medicare and all your options. Don't rely on TV ads or annoying phone calls. Having a local agent makes all the difference. Call LSS at 752-9493. Call 752-9493.
On the familiar corner of 4th North and 1st West, Beezer Lock and Key has been keeping Cache Valley safe for 30 years. Beezer has repaired, replaced, or helped build thousands of projects in Cache Valley with secure door hardware, including locking systems, panic hardware, door closers, and more. It's always been more than simply cutting a key. Your family and business safety come first. Beezer Lock and Key knows how to provide top-notch security solutions that stand unmatched in the industry. Visit 4th North and 1st West in Logan, or go to BeezerLock.com to discover more.
Who do you turn to if you want to change out your wood or pellet stove? Advanced Fireplace and Stove. They were voted the gold medalist for Best of Northern Utah for the 4th year in a row in the fireplace retrofit category. Be ready when the government's next wood and pellet replacement incentives pop up. Advanced Fireplace can help you navigate the paperwork. For more information, call Advanced Fireplace and Stove, 752-7272. Online at advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
This is Brent Wallace with Cache Valley Bank, and we are celebrating our pioneers and their contribution to our state. Join us as we celebrate the days of 47 with our promotion. From now until July 31st, you can receive a 4.79 annual percentage yield on a 12-month CD or a 4.25 annual percentage yield on an 1847-day certificate of deposit. Come visit us or give us a call to learn more and be part of the celebration. Cache Valley Bank, mountains await. Member FDIC, no minimum balance required. Early withdrawal penalty may apply.
Let Prodigy Brewing deliver a delicious experience of flavor and fun into your world. Enjoy Cache Valley's juiciest burgers, tastiest nachos, and flavor-filled wood-fired pizzas and award-winning specialty craft beers. Did you know that Prodigy Brewing now has a 20-minute lunch guarantee? From 11 to 3 p.m., they promise to get your meal to you within 20 minutes after you order, or it's free. So whether it's a quick lunch, dinner with the family, Sunday brunch, or Trivia Tuesdays, let Prodigy Brewing introduce you to deliciousness. Prodigy Brewing on Center Street in downtown Logan.
It's the Full Court Press with Eric Franson and Jason Walker.
It's the Full Court Press here with Jason Walker, Ajay Salvesen, filling in for Eric Franson, who's taking a long weekend, like since Tuesday, long weekend, to go up to Yellowstone. That's where he went. So, like a week after he went on a hike in the Uintas. So, he's spending a lot of time in the outdoors.
You're a permanent guest host for the summer. That's how it was.
Yeah, I should just
say it like this.
I should just have you do the whole summer, because that's just like half of the summer. You almost have as many days on the show as Eric does.
I know. God bless that man. But
many vacations he takes.
Hey, so I mean, football season it's gonna quickly arrive on us. It's gonna be here before we know it.
We're already
we're getting ready for Robert Morris. All of a sudden, you guys are getting your weekly prep ready for the season, doing your predictions and all that. And the roster, we'll see what it looks like here in a couple weeks. But if it is, as it is right now, I think there's some positives, and I think there's some good things that we can be excited about, Jason. I mean, I like what I see on the defensive end of things. Of course, Ike Larson in the backfield doesn't hurt. And on the other side of the ball, you still got your chunk of your running back core, which I'm really thrilled about. Jalen Royals on the other side of the ball as a receiver, I'm really excited about. Colby Bowman, hopefully he can come into his own and start getting the grasp of things and become a more the productive receiver that we are hoping and expect him to be.
Yeah, that's kind of the frustrating thing with the whole Blake Anderson story is that it just throws a wrench or 9 into this upcoming season where you felt like, it's not like the same when you're actually going into 2022, fresh off of 2021. Maybe there was high expectations. I know 2022 didn't really fill out all those, but there was an expectation of being able to maybe be a better team than last year, especially if that defense came along, Nate Dreiling stepping in and, being able to do his job as, rebuilding the defense. Of course, now he has to be the head coach, which that's going to, hurt him. It feels like this got thrown off, what could have been a good team, what was definitely going to be a good offense. It was going to be one of the better offenses. May still be, but again, you have to throw question marks and asterisks at everything and kind of qualify everything. And we kind of got to do that here because I want to talk about who maybe are some of the breakout players, offense, defense, anywhere. Who might of a player that was on the roster last season, who didn't really play a ton, or didn't wasn't one of the stars of the team. Who could maybe make that jump and be that kind of player? I mean, we had Jalen Royals. He did that last season, and made that really big jump into being, Brock Lane kind of finally started putting up some numbers and being productive, being impactful from that tight end position, being healthy. So, Ajay, is there, one or two players you feel like could take, big step up into being maybe even being a borderline or even an all Mountain West caliber player?
So besides Jalen Royals, I really do, and I'm being
Jalen Royals doesn't qualify because he's already a star there.
That's true. Look, but besides him, right, Colby Bowman, I still feel like can come into his own. He runs great routes. When he makes sharp cuts, I think he can create great space. He's got good hands. I don't know what happened last year, but he's got good hands when he uses them. I think there's some upside to Colby Bowman, and I know there was some, dissension between the whole quarterback situation and what was going on there. I think there was some frustration that maybe divided the locker room on the offense side of the ball. Hopefully that is all gone now, right? We're down to 2-3 quarterbacks.
Yeah, all the guys that were here last year are gone.
Yeah, so hopefully that when that thing's resolved itself. But I think Colby Bowman can be one of those guys. I would like to see him put up more productive numbers, get more touches, get more looks, and see if he can become one of those important threats that the Aggies are going to need on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, last year, what Jalen Royals did, maybe not from a being a record-breaking receiver, but I was kind of expecting Colby Bowman to be that number one receiver, on the outside, that downfield threat. Jalen Royals kind of took that over. Now Royals is still there, but you have Terrell Vaughn, who's not there, and obviously he's moved on. So there's room for there's targets that are gone that need to be given to somebody. Could be Colby Bowman. It could be Micah Davis. Could be somebody else. Kyrese White seems to be trying to move his way up the depth chart. He's a guy that seems to be trying to command room in that wide receiver room. It's a very competitive room. And very good at the top.
Which is good, which is what we need.
I think for me, the one player that I've heard a lot of people talk about, and I didn't necessarily have him as a guy that I thought was going to be a starter this season because of guys they brought in and the fact that I don't think he was really a starter at all last year, but Blaine Spires seems to be a guy that a lot of people are talking about. And Nate Dreiling was very complimentary of him when we had him on our show, where he thought he was going to be one of the best defensive ends. I can't remember if he said in the conference or even in the nation. He was very high on Blaine Spires specifically. He didn't say all of his defensive ends. He might have mentioned a couple of others, but I remember he specifically mentioned Blaine Spires, and I've seen other people very complimentary of him as well. And this is a guy who came from Bowling Green. He came was in the rotation. He played last year, and he's got a decent amount of experience. But it seems maybe there's a corner that he's turning. to potentially be a big breakout player. And Paul Fitzgerald, who kind of was a bit of a, he was a productive true freshman at times. And so that spot's kind of empty. So maybe that opens the door a bit for Blaine Spires. But I think he's, not only is the door open a bit for him, but I think that his coaches have a lot of confidence in him, and maybe he's made some improvements so that.
And he was actually really good last year, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he had some really good spurts where he had tackles for his TFLs. I think he said twice. He set a career high back-to-back games.
Yeah, he was good last season. Like,
he wasn't consistent though. That was the problem.
Yeah, that was kind of the problem with most of Utah State's defense. Like Paul Fitzgerald, had 8 sacks, but I think 7 of those were in 2 different games. So there's I think one game he had 3, and then another game he had 3 as well.
Sure.
So it was really concentrated in a couple of games. But last year Blaine Spires has 8.5 tackles for loss and 5 sacks. Those are good numbers, but that's I guess they're kind of okay to 2 good numbers. But I think that if he has a kind of breakout that maybe I think is being hinted at, or at least the confidence the coaches are showing, we're talking double-digit sacks, tackles for loss in the teens or high teens, that kind of season. Maybe he had 3 fumble recoveries. Maybe he forces a couple more fumbles. Maybe he has some big impact plays. More than just 1 or 2. And I think that's where maybe he can end up taking a step forward. So I think that's kind of the one guy I'm looking at to have well, it's not the only guy, but I think especially where the defense needs those kind of guys, I think Blaine Spires could be that.
It's a great – and again, I thought there was – his name arose, in the box score, every Sunday, several times actually in the first five games. And that second half of the season – as that defense started getting carved up, and they were worn out because we were turning the ball over way too much as well. But I feel like Blaine Spires' production dipped dramatically too.
I think everyone just kind of dipped because, as mentioned, they look good early in the season. After the Iowa game, I was like, dang, these guys look good. They were tackling well, and then it turned out Iowa's offense was still just bad.
Yeah,
and you gave up. I think that was one of the higher point totals Iowa scored all year. Of course, Utah State, and then they just slowly became a matador after a while.
Hey, and another guy that I'm actually, and I forget that he's returning because it's just been so quiet. But Micah Davis, he had some spurts as well. If we can get, this wide receiver core could be really good, and you talked about that.
Yeah.
But I think Micah Davis is one. If we can take the pressure off of Jalen Royals, using Micah Davis, Colby Bowman being more productive, this core could be really, really good, and I think it will balance out the running game as well, which has a really good, 2-3-headed monster.
Yeah, when the Aggies had all their receivers healthy, they were unstoppable because there were games where Jalen Royals wouldn't catch a pass or Terrell Vaughn wouldn't catch a pass, but then the other guys were catching a bunch of them. And Micah Davis was part of that order. If Royals wasn't in, then it was Vaughn and Davis, and even Colby Bowman would catch a deep pass or 2. If it wasn't Terrell Vaughn, it was Jalen Royals catching one of those 50-yard bombs, or Brock Lane making a play. If the whole wide receiver group is healthy, it's unstoppable.
Yeah.
Because you have that top end, All-American talent in Jalen Royals, and you have highly productive receivers like Micah Davis, who was productive in he wasn't the main guy, but he still put up 400 receiving yards. So you have enough wide receiver talent to go around.
Another guy, I know he got injured, I think midway through the year, if I remember right, but Max Alford. How does he come back? I think Max could be a big component of that defense.
Yeah, he got injured play 1 last year.
Was it play 1?
Yeah, snap 1 against Iowa. And
was it really? Holy cow! I for some reason thought it was middle of the season too. That was a long year.
It was. So he's a guy.
But that's a guy I think if he comes back healthy and he comes back ready, production wise, could be a very big shot in the arm for this Aggie defense.
And dang, do they need it at linebacker?
Oh yeah,
especially with MJ Tafisi gone. They need somebody, and they've got a lot of incoming linebackers. Though I think it's going to be a tough fight. It's a bunch of guys who aren't necessarily proven guys, but we'll see who steps up and makes the big plays. And Max Alford, I think, has been one of my favorites. Like, ever since the offseason went in, I've kind of had him penned in as like starting middle linebacker. But who knows? We'll see what happens.
Really quick, the offensive line's got to be good. The offensive line's going to be a massive part of the offense through this year.
Yeah, and they have to, and pretty much everybody's coming back, and that's where they just all need to take a step up. And I've seen this before, where I think it was like 2017. I remember watching that year, and it's like the offensive line is mediocre. It's not even really that good, and I feel like they weren't really making a push. But then like everybody returned, and then it was 2018. And my goodness, was the offensive line great that year. The way they performed. And some of it was, competition, but even against like Boise State when they were playing them, they did fantastic, even though they lost that game. So I think this can maybe be another year where it's like you bring everybody back. Everybody has a year of experience under their belt. You brought in more guys who can be great depth behind them. The offensive line can be and should be a lot better. All right, we got to take a break. We got a couple of texts coming in, so we'll answer those as well. But we'll keep the conversation going here on the Full Court Press.
Girls, us guys are always trying to score some brownie points, but we need all the help we can get. So dropping some subtle hints is helpful, such as your favorite food is Italian, you love the color green, and you want the ring from Jarek's Fine Jewelry, the place with the bright green cars on 930 North Main Street. Okay, so it might not be so subtle, but that's okay. Remember, we need the help. Make it special, make it Jarek's. Now remember, just tell him it's the place with the bright green cars.
Imagine your wedding day. Elegant, simple, yet stunning, stress-free. It's your day. It's all about you. Whether you're looking for small and simple or have a grander idea, the Riverwoods Conference Center will accommodate your every need. Choose the inside ballroom elegance or outside along the natural decor of the beautiful Logan River. A Riverwoods event planner will work personally with you to make sure your event is exactly how you've envisioned it. The Riverwoods Conference Center, where your happily ever after begins. Google Riverwoods Conference Center or call 750-5151.
Daryl's Appliance is proud to sponsor the music for this year's fireworks show in Cache Valley. They are the place for new appliances, from everyday workhorses like Maytag and GE to high-end lines like Wolf and Sub-Zero. And if your appliance breaks down, you always get the best appliance repair team in northern Utah and southern Idaho. That's only at Daryl's Appliance, west on Airport Road.
See Daryl's Appliance in beautiful downtown Benson.
Summer in Cache Valley is beautiful, and the Sportsman on Main Street has all your bike needs covered. Get your bike in now for service or a tune-up. We can usually get your service done in about 2 days. Be ready for the beautiful riding days ahead. If you need a new bike, we have kids to adult full suspension mountain bikes and e-bikes for around town or the mountains. From bikes to helmets to locks and clothing, come and see us at the Sportsman on Main Street in downtown Logan for all your biking needs.
Are you seeking the best in healthcare services in northern Utah? Look no further. Aegis Healthcare has been voted the best of northern Utah. I am Jason Jones. We take pride in providing top quality home care and hospice services to the residents of northern Utah. Experience the difference with Aegis. Our dedicated team is here to provide compassionate home care and hospice services tailored just for you. Call us today at 723-9000 or visit our website at myaegis.com. Aegis Home Health and Hospice, your trusted partner right here in your community.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. I'd like to invite you to learn more about us. Since 1997, we've been Utah's premier one-stop shop for home medical equipment. What sets us apart at Alpine Home Medical is the superior level of customer service. We provide home oxygen, CPAPs, wheelchairs, scooters, breast pumps, and so much more. Come on down and get to know us.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit alpinehomemedical.com.
The Aggies, Jazz, high schools, even the Pee Wee's T-ball team. It's the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, The Fan.
It's the Full Court Press. I realized I left the slider down for the commercial, so the commercial was probably slightly quieter the entire time for the whole break. So,
well, someone's paying the bills, and Jason, it's your fault.
I know our wonderful sponsors. They obviously support the show, so I don't want to shortchange him there.
No.
So my bad.
Hey, dude, by the way, I'm so angry with you guys.
What did I do?
I see you guys get to do shows at Beehive Grill.
Yeah?
I love Beehive Grill. I never got to do a show there. I love that place, man.
We'll have to see if we can get to Beehive Grill, and then we'll invite you
seriously,
on the show.
can we do one in the summer since we know Eric's not going to be here?
We'll have to reach out and see if we can get a remote, and I'll plan it on a day where Eric is gone.
Please, just give me one show where Eric's not here, where you guys were at Beehive Grill. I get their Southwestern chicken wrap, no avocado. Oh my gosh, it is heaven. I love Beehive Grill.
Now you're making me hungry.
Dude, no, I'm serious. Oh, and then get the fish and cod tacos. And you get the rice on it. Oh my heck. Dude, I'm telling you, glory is never ever been tasted like that food at Beehive Grill. And I'm serious. Next time you have a show there, just say, hey, Eric, why don't you go take another vacation? Ajay's coming.
Continuing things here on the food show here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan. Jason Walker and Ajay Salvesen. Certainly, it's a great place. Obviously, they've been a wonderful sponsor here.
Absolutely. Hey, so I mean, just kind of finish up this football conversation.
We had a couple texts. I want to get to these. One of them is on football.
Okay.
Although we were having a conversation about coaches in here and saying they never leave, and 8968 a while back saying. Craig Smith was an Aggie 5 minutes before he left for Utah.
Dude, that 8968, I cannot tell you how crazy that night was. Like getting a call at 3 o'clock in the morning saying, hey, is Craig gone? And it was from someone in Salt Lake. And I was like, no. And then I made some phone calls and texted other people. And it was like 3:30 in the morning. And then found out he was leaving. And I remember, dude, he said, do you remember Eric Peterson, the head associate under Craig here? And then for a year out Utah, I texted him like at 4 o'clock in the morning, I said, hey, are you going to Utah with Craig? And he texted me at 7 and said, Craig's not going anywhere. What are you talking about? 7:30 in the morning, he says, hey, my phone's blowing up. Let me know when it's official. And I said, oh, my heck, he had no idea. So I just texted him right back. I said, it's official.
Gosh.
Still one of the craziest nights of my life.
Isn't Peterson back at South Dakota State?
Yeah, he's in South Dakota State. He loves it. We chat regularly. He's doing really, really well. Loves it over there. He's going to get that culture built back up, and that team's going to have some success coming here.
Good stuff. And then 9 through 5.
Yeah.
On football. So do you think they chose Nate just because he would have been the farthest coach removed from the things that went on with Blake? Going with him as interim coach.
Yeah.
That seems to be the speculation.
Yeah. I mean, look. It's really tough in this situation to have these conversations with the staff, right? Like Kyle Cefalo and Blake are really close, but Cefalo also has a job to do, and he understands the importance of the program and of these players. Like and these players on both sides of the ball love Kyle Cefalo, and I think Kyle Cefalo understood his assignment and said, you know what, I want to be here. It's about the kids. In this regard, it's about the kids. I think Nate Dowling was put in a tough situation. Like you either win a lot of games and and you're competing to be able to impress other programs around the country to offer you a job, and that's the hope. That's kind of where the focus is. We all know what the other side is, right? You lose a lot of games and then it's tough. He was put in a tough situation, but I think he's got a lot of great support, including Cefalo, Bassett, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough situation. If they make it through all this, get to a bowl game, even do slightly better in a bowl game, like 7-8 wins. Then
if they get to a bowl game, it's going to be one of the best coaching jobs I've ever seen.
Yeah, pretty much.
In Utah State football history.
Pretty much. One final thing before we go to break, we'll have Pick 6 coming up next. Ajay is going to return to Pick 6.
Hey, no soccer things. You cannot do any soccer.
In Pick 6, I have like 3 of them.
I don't even watch soccer. So, like, you're going to be like, hey,
it's that or golf.
I'll do golf.
Okay.
You're going to be like Ronaldo Pepe gets, 4 goals and 5 assists. And I'll be like, absolutely. And that's not even possible. I don't know, man. I just feel like you're just trying to hose me on this one.
Yeah, well, the only things going right now that we can really do Pick 6 on is like golf, motorsports, or soccer.
You're going to be surprised. I'm going to give you a surprise.
All righty then. I'll wait for that surprise coming up next here on the Full Court Press.
Les Olson IT is your source for top quality technology. We carry the latest desktop and laptop PCs in stock, configured to your specific needs, and backed by our award-winning support team. And if your business demands high-performance hardware, we offer custom-built computers that can tackle any task. We also offer great computer accessories like monitors, keyboards, speakers, Fujitsu document scanners, and more. Get a quote today.
Les Olson IT.
The patio is open. The chips are endless. Drinks on tap. You know it's got to be Cafe Sabor, Cache Valley's best Mexican restaurant, gold winner in the Best of Northern Utah contest. Experience Locals Day every Thursday with a huge burrito, endless chips and soda, only $7.95. That's a complete lunch for just $7.95. Finding any lunch under $10 is nearly impossible. Every Thursday, drinks, chips, and massive burrito, just $7.95. The patio, the sun, the fun at Cafe Sabor in the historic train station on 6th Weston Center in Logan.
Make it 4 years in a row. Advanced Heating and AC is honored to be named the gold medalist for the Best of Northern Utah in the AC HVAC category. You have many choices when it comes to your home's heating and air conditioning system. Make sure you choose the gold medal winning company, Advanced Heating and AC. Call 752-7272 or stop by their showroom west of DI. Online at advancedheating-ac.com.
No matter what the conditions, DD Auto and Salvage can get your vehicle up and off your property. Now is the time to plan to make extra cash by calling DD Auto and Salvage and moving that old vehicle. Let them pay you for that junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it so easy to get rid of your junker vehicles, paying you the most money possible. If you have metal, DD Auto and Salvage in Logan wants to pay you today. Call 787-1204. That's 787-1204 today. See store for details.
Markets are unpredictable, but reaching your financial goals shouldn't be. Adams Wealth Advisors is dedicated to helping you navigate these challenges and ensure you're prepared for every outcome. Whether your financial plan revolves around advanced tax planning, estate planning, business strategies, retirement planning, or investment management, Adams Wealth Advisors team of CPAs, CFPs, and CFAs will provide the expertise needed to help you reach your financial goals. Visit AdamsWealthAdvisors.com. That's AdamsWealthAdvisors.com for more information or to schedule an appointment.
Since 1990, the Logo Shop has been your source for customized logoed items for businesses, teams, and booster clubs. The Logo Shop can customize your logo on thousands of items. When it's important to make an impression, have the Logo Shop embroider your logo on apparel from Nike, Travis Mathew, OGO, North Face, Under Armour, and Carhartt. Team shirts, uniforms, pens, water bottles, clocks, rugs, golf balls. The Logo Shop can put your logo on anything.
The Logo Shop. Logo stuff. The Logo Shop.
They never could play it, but they sure can talk about it. Eric Franson and Jason Walker on the Full Court Press.
You don't have to jump.
Hey,
you just reach over their head. I would have to jump.
Mics are on, Ajay.
I know. I just want to make it very
Ajay
clear
is
that you're
accusing me of doing over the back.
You're trying to play victim, and you're not.
All right, it's time for pick six. So, Ajay, I did as you asked. I had 3 soccer lines in my pick six. So, I had 3 picks plus a tiebreaker. There were 3 soccer lines. I removed 2 of them. So, there you go. Actually, I changed into a couple of WNBA lines, so be happy. So let's go ahead and do pick 6. The 6 things we think will happen over the weekend. Got about 2 minutes. Let's be relatively quick. Ajay, why don't you start us off?
So Phillies are at the Braves tomorrow night. My Braves struggling a little bit now that Ronald Acuna Jr. is out. Bryce Harper will go 2.5 hits over under.
Bryce Harper 2.5 hits
over under.
I go under.
I'm going to go over. I think he's coming alive here. I'm going to go over for Bryce Harper. July 6th, guess what starts? Summer League. Yes. The Lakers. Bronny James against the Kings.
Is he actually playing in the Summer League?
I don't know. We're going to find out. Okay, Lakers over the Kings, 12.5 over under.
Let's go under.
I'm going to go over.
Alrighty, you got one more line?
Okay, July 8th, we have Summer League basketball. The Utah Jazz versus Oklahoma City Thunder. We are going to say Walker Kessler. Who has more boards, Walker Kessler or Chet Holmgren?
Probably Kessler. I imagine he plays a little bit more. Maybe I don't know. That's a good one. I think.
I'm gonna go Kessler as well.
Alrighty. All right. So here's mine. Combined points and rebounds for Angel Reese against Seattle. Over under 24.5.
Ooh, points and rebounds.
Points and rebounds.
Under.
I'm gonna go over. Then I've got who wins the IndyCar 200 at Mid Ohio?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Alexander Rossi, Alex Palou, or the field?
You know, the field has been playing really well lately. It's been revving its engine and hitting the gas pedal.
Palou won the last race.
Yeah, so the field's going to win.
I'm going to go with Rossi.
Okay.
It's the guy named Alex. The other guy. I almost did just someone named
Dude,
Alex.
You did.
And everyone else.
I guarantee you. I would not want to.
I should have done that. And then Las Vegas Aces by 12.5 points over the LA Sparks.
Over.
Okay. I'm going to take the under. And then tiebreaker, this is my one soccer line. RSL total shots on Saturday, a game I'll be at. Total shots against Atlanta, over under 14.5.
Oh, under.
I guess I have to take over. It's tiebreaker. So
no, flip, because Eric owes you. So I'll go over. You go under.
Okay, you got the over. I got the under. All right,
pay you.
That's pick 6. Thanks so much for listening. That's going to take us to the end of the show. Thank you for listening. Hope you had a great 4th of July, and hope you all have an absolutely fantastic weekend. Make sure to tune in Monday.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Every summer we hear about 5-star quarterbacks signing with college football powerhouses. That comes with a lot of attention. And with NIL, a major factor in college football, players are under more scrutiny than ever before. But the reality is, many of these star recruits will fail to make an impact. In 2003, the nation's top quarterback prospect was Kyle Wright. He committed to the U. He threw for 38 touchdowns, 31 interceptions in his college career. 2013, Max Browner committed to USC. He served as a backup for 3 years and was replaced by Sam Darnold after just 1 game. Becoming a star quarterback in college, it isn't easy. Just like the NFL draft, coaches and scouts swing and miss all the time. Not every top quarterback recruit can elevate a program. It's a lot of pressure to put on an 18-year-old kid, especially at that position. And with the amount of money that NIL has brought to college football, that pressure will only continue to rise. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.